In everybody, and welcome to another live broadcast here with My Supercar Productions, and we've got a MG feast for you tonight as we head into the bank holiday weekend. I couldn't be more happy to welcome Peter Birchall from the MG Cup. Peter, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. I think we're all surviving the lockdown, and it'd be a strange bank holiday because most of us would normally be doing something else, but I'm sure a few of us will find some time to get in the garage and have a tinker with the race cars. So yeah, can't complain.
Absolutely. And James Wheeler, of course, from the BCV8 Championship. James, how are you doing?
Yeah, good to see you guys. Yeah, same thing, lockdown, and kind of yeah, be nice to get up racing, but at the same time, you know, we're all doing the right thing, and not going out and getting haircuts, as I can see right now. But yeah, first thing I
know. Pain, James.
James, was that aimed at me? James, was that aimed at me? Now, guys, just so you know, to run a sort of play tonight, what we want to do is we're going to hear obviously from Peter and James quite a lot tonight, just to sort of let you know plans for kind of the rest of the year, what's going ahead. We are going to look back on 2019 as well. Now, Peter, we're going to come to you first very, very shortly. But what I want to do first is show everybody. Obviously, we're broadcasting on the MG Cup page and the BCV8 Championship. We're also broadcasting on My Supercar and a number of pages today as well. So for those of you who want a little flavour of what the MG Cup, we'll go to the MG Cup first of all, is really all about, we do have a video to show everybody. So please sit back and enjoy. And Elaine, if we could roll tape for the MG Cup.
Good footage. Good footage.
Guys.
2017.
That
really
was from. Sorry, Peter. Yeah, that was from 2017, wasn't it? Now, I love MGs. Now, one of the reasons I love MGs, obviously, the Rover connection. Of course, my first ever car was a Rover 214 SI 1994. I must have been 18 at the time. I was at college. I was the only person at college with a 5-door family saloon with beige interior and fake walnut dash.
Classic Rover.
Now, exactly. Now, Peter, just tell us a little bit more about the MG Cup and sort of the classes involved, and just an overview of the series, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, no problems. So what we do, we're open to any Rover or production MG. 3 classes, keeping it simple. Standard, where the rules are really quite rigid. So it's just lowering springs, braided lines, performance brake pads, keeping the cars completely stock to make it affordable for everybody. That's Class A. Then we have a modified class, Class B, where a few more modifications are allowed, where, as with all our classes, we try and balance the performance of rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive cars of different ages. And then in Class C, it's the modified class, where we run some of the old Rover Dunlop Turbo Challenge cars, which have been a great success. We've got some fire-breathing little Metros that are running 1.8 engines and weighing not a lot. And yeah, the 3 classes work really well. We've always had a good mix of front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, normally aspirated turbocharged. And over the last couple of years, we run alongside other championships in the car club, but a lot of the MGBs run with James in the BCV8, and it's good, because what we're trying to do is, within the championships, is actually have somewhere for people to take their MGs. So if you've got an older classic, you don't have to go FIA racing and spend a huge amount of money. You can do it in the club. And if you've got a ZR, ZS, MGS, TF, all of which are really affordable, you know, you can buy an up and running car for £3,500. So you're not going to get much cheaper. Obviously, you're helping us with the streaming this year for the championship. We've got a good mix of drivers. And the main thing is just close racing, so it's all good.
Fantastic, and I can't wait to get out with you guys. I was absolutely gutted when we went into lockdown because working with you guys did get me pretty excited, I have to say. Like I said, I'm very fond of MG Rovers, of course. Now, James, let's come to you, shall we? Let's discuss the BCV8 Championship. And just to let you know, we haven't forgotten about you, of course. We do have a nice little video to play, nice little promo for the BCV8 Championship for those of you who have not come across it or are familiar and just want to reminisce a little bit. So, Elaine, if we roll, please. Say about that. That's probably the funkiest little tune I've ever heard as well. Well, James, tell us about the BCV8 Championship. Break it down for us.
Yeah, so some nice shots of the paddock there. But yeah, one thing that did show in that is we've got sort of like this good community spirit within the BCV8. Everyone gets on, everyone mucks in. If there's an issue with someone's car, someone will be there. You know, a competitor will literally jump in and help out, even if it's taking things off their own car if they've had an issue themselves, things like that. So that's the first thing that really sets BCV8 above the rest in my feeling, because the community spirit within all of us is great. And then the racing is friendly but seriously competitive. You know, you can go into a race and the top 6-7 cars in each class, you couldn't pick a winner. You don't know who's going to win. The structure of the championship's broken down quite nicely. We've got four main classes, ranging from different budgets. And the point of BCV8 is exactly what it says with the name, MG BCV8. So it caters for MGBs, MGCs, and MGB V8s, with classes from standard MGBs through standard MGCs, standard MGB V8s, right the way through to our D class, which is a fully modified MGB V8. So you've literally got everything to fit all budgets, and the three sort of models of cars. So yeah, it provides great racing. Every class is competitive, and yeah, we'll have a good laugh.
Well, I can tell you, chaps, both for both the MG Cup and the BCV8 Championship, I'm pleased to say that a bit later in the show we will be showing some onboard footage from both championships. So do stay tuned, because it is really, really exciting to see. Now, I can see a few people are commenting as well. So please, if you are watching this and you want to ask the guys a question, do comment. We can see them and we will read them out to the guys. Just so you know, Peter, Tony Rushforth has just said, good evening, Peter. So he's clearly watching. So I guess he's somebody you know quite well.
Yeah. Tony and I go back a long way, and he actually has a ZR hidden away. So he needs to get registration in, as his son has, and come racing this year. So gauntlet's there, Tony. Get your car out.
And I can tell you, Phil Rigby's said I'm in, and a big thumbs up as well. And John O. Johnson said, hi all. I'm in the workshop right now prepping for next year. So there we go. People are getting ready and getting on to, preparing for getting when we do get on track. So let's talk about actually on track. Now, I know Sunday's a big day. There's going to be a big government announcement. But I know you chaps are very optimistic. We are going to be racing soonish. Peter, let's start with you. You've got some dates still set in the calendar, haven't we?
And to be fair, James and I, both our championships be running at the same time. So we're out at Donington, hopefully on the 11th and 12th of July. That gives us 3 championship meetings to run, so 6 races for the MG Cup. So Donington 11th and 12th, 5th and 6th of September at Snetterton, and then the 3rd of October for the finale weekend at Oulton Park. So it's a shame we've missed the Grand Prix circuit at Silverstone. It's a shame we've missed Brands Hatch, because that's always a favourite for everybody. Paddock Hill's just insane. And we missed an opportunity to run at Silverstone on the International, which we haven't done for quite a while. So, it's going to be a good season. We just, we've got to follow the rules. Everybody's got to be safe. That's the most important thing. We're also very conscious as organisers that, it's difficult times at the moment. People, jobs, money. So we're doing all we can to make it as friendly and entertaining as we can. We've organised bits to happen at the circuits every round, but we just got to follow the rules and see what happens on Sunday when the announcement comes out. So fingers crossed.
Absolutely. And James, when we do get racing, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a bit of a party, isn't it, that first weekend?
Yeah, as close to the party as we're allowed, but I think we'll all be having a party.
It'll be a good party.
I think it's simple. Just keep helmets on and drink with a straw out of a can. You'll be fine. I'm sure we can work our way around it. You can just imagine whoever's first session out in qualifying, it'd be like the Red Mist of racing. You'd just be 15 minutes of absolutely balls out. Sorry, excuse language, and just really enjoy it. It's all we're waiting to do, isn't it? We just want to get on track. Simple as.
I think definitely it's. Maybe it'd be Donington, and if we can all get out, it's certainly going to make some spectacular racing, and just be good to see everyone again. You become a bit of a racing family, don't you? So sort of actually just catching up with friends and not doing it this way is going to be brilliant.
I think the hardest part is to try and get back in their racewear. That's going to be a challenge, because we've all had
very true.
eating well, drinking well, and you sort of think might be a squeeze, but
I think right now, Peter, I wouldn't be able to get a race helmet on with my massive hair at the minute. I promise I'll have a haircut, chaps, before the first one, before July.
It does make you laugh.
I'll tell you what, let's stick on a positive theme, shall we? What I want to do as well is, for everybody watching, and obviously for you guys as well, let's look back on 2019. Let's raise a few smiles. The point of doing a lot of these live shows is, first of all, to kind of reassure everybody that, we're still here. The series is still going ahead. Everything's carrying on as best as it can. And let's have a few smiles and a few giggles. And we just want everybody to kind of reminisce and be happy. So let's look back on 2019, shall we? James, let's start with you. BCV8 Championship. Can you give us a quick overview? What happened? Who won? Who won your classes? Let's go for a bit of a rundown, shall we?
I don't know why I'm peering down at a laptop to remind myself, but it was it feels like a long time ago now, 2019. But wow, what a season it was. Once again, I think we went into the final round with 5 people who could win the championship. I don't know whether it's that unique. I haven't looked at how other championships run their point systems, but we can actually, so each class can win its own championship. You can win your class championship, but your points go in an overall pot as well. So you've got 2 ways you can look at it. If you've got a car that maybe fits 2 classes, you can race both cars, and your points are going towards the overall. So we had a couple of people doing that this year, and that added to the mix at the end of the season, when they were nowhere near their class win, but actually the overall win, they had a good chance of getting. We went into that final round with 5 people that could win the championship, and it was as close as you can imagine. Coming out with Jordan Spencer, who's one of our youngest drivers actually. Jordan Spencer coming out with his first win, first championship win. And I'll be sure it'll be one of many, because he's a very quick little peddler. But our class champions, just to run through, we had Russell McAngus, who's new to the championship. He's done a bit of racing before, but he came out and drove spectacularly in AB class and won that championship. B class, Mark Scott, he's been winning that for a while, and again had a battle on his hands, but came through as B class champion. And C class was Jordan, so he's the overall, and he was C class. And then D class went to, and he's actually a good friend of mine, and helps run the championship. Went to Nick Fowler. So Neil and myself tend to help run the championship, and he won D class in 2019. Championship went really well. We put on quite a few like sort of social events as well. You actually only do 20 minutes of racing, so to put on some social events, as in after the race, most of our races are on Saturdays. So after Saturday, we choose a pub that might be local, or a restaurant that might be nearby, or just a barbecue in the paddock after the race. Which obviously now you're doing this live streaming, you're always welcome to as well. But we always do that because it just makes a bit more of a weekend of it.
Excellent, fantastic, James. And we do have a bit of footage to show a little bit later. Again, I believe of Russell on board. Now, just before we move to you, actually, Peter, I just want to say a couple of comments have come in as well. Adam New has commented saying, I was gutted I couldn't go to Brands and MG Live this year. Been following the MG Cup for years, but can only visit certain tracks. I hope Goodwood is on the listing for this year. Is Goodwood planned anytime in the future, Peter?
Oh, to be fair, we wouldn't say no, but unfortunately there aren't that many opportunities to race there. But the car club will be discussing calendars for next year shortly, and all the coordinators of all the race championships within it will have their input. But yeah, there's a lot of circuits we'd like to go to. I'm a massive fan of Thruxton, but you don't get many days to go there. We all like Cadwell Park, and something where you have to really push yourself a little bit is good. But we'll see what comes up next year. But yeah, this year's been, it's just been one of those, isn't it? None of us saw this coming. James and I were talking earlier. We got over all that Brexit nonsense, and January was there, and we all went to Watersfall. We were all so gun ho about, right, this is going to be the season, loads of plans, and it happened. So it just means we're going to bounce back even harder at the end of this year, and then 2021 we're just going to have an absolute ball. And we hope that we can encourage more people to come and join us. And that's what we love about club racing, is we've made some really good friends. And as James was saying earlier, everybody helps everybody, and that's what it's about. And it's, don't get me wrong, those lights go out, and for 20 minutes, it's serious fun. But you get out the other side of it, and you're with a group of mates, and at the end of the day, we all beg forgiveness and 6, 7, 8 weekends away from family to enjoy ourselves with some cars. And let's be fair, we've got to use as much petrol as we can for as long as we can before we're all racing little Nissan Notes or whatever they're called, these electric things. It's going to be on the car.
Batteries.
But it's. I think really everybody's in the same boat. We just want to get racing again. But first things first, everybody's got to stay safe, and we all understand that. And I'll be honest, from not racing at the start of the year, allows you to think about, I've got a tatty old van that chose the race car. Well, that might get, there might be a bit of budget to change that next year now, because I haven't spent it on race entries. But I'm as determined as most of the drivers. We will go out and do as many rounds as we can and enjoy it as much as we can, which is what it's all about.
Absolutely, definitely. And sort of talking about that sort of almost community spirit as well, Brian Playford is message just saying, hi folks, just to say I'm watching. So welcome, Brian. It's a pleasure to have you watching the show. Now, Peter, we were just chatting there about obviously getting going again. Just explain to us about 2019, shall we? Let's look back at the MG Cup for 2019. Tell us about the season. Give us a brief overview.
Yeah, it's we're really lucky. The regulations have been built up over the years, and one of the former coordinators spent a lot of time on it. So thanks, Nick. But our class structure is such that there is tenths of a second between cars. So we had, I'm just looking at the results from last year, we actually had 7 cars all scoring big points that all could have gone into the last round and decided first, second and third. And it's the nature of the beast. It's about reliability. It's about close racing. But we had Class A was won by Carl Robinson, and his dad races as well. So they got a few awards at the do, which was good. Delry and Aaron Ross were second and third. And if it wasn't for a few mechanical gremlins during the year, that class was very wide open, and the three of them were glued to each other. Class B, Chris Bolton secured the win, and Ian Dowler unfortunately had the most spectacular blow up at Alton Park. Missed out, unfortunately, but that was so close. And third place was Ian Bolton. So again, within Class B, any of the three cars could have secured it, and it's so close. And then Class C, Richard Buckley, who was our champion, drove an absolute stormer. Unfortunately, was involved in a little tangle at the last round, but he went in with a commanding lead. So he actually went in to the last races having to finish to secure, and he raced all the way through. Mike Williams in his Metro, he finished second, and I finished third, so I was quite happy with that. I actually went into the final 2 rounds second, but Mike's too quick, but I'll have him this year. And then we've got an invitation class where we've got cars that don't quite conform to the regs, where we limit people to 4 races and then they can change the cars. And last year, Stuart Trainter secured that in his Rover Tomcat, and he's now changed it to meet the regulations to run in Class C. So he's going to be quick. So from the registered drivers, I couldn't pick a winner on each class. And I just know that, as most years, we have a different champion each year. So we've had champions in Class C, Class B, and Class A. And that's really important, because you can go racing and you can have a battle with 8 other guys in your class, and you might be finishing between 10th and 18th. You can win the championship. Likewise, if you're in Class A, which is the production class, you might be finishing in the last 12 of the grid. You can still win the championship. And that's what it's all about. And we do pride ourselves on having a really good night at the end of the year. I'm not obviously suggesting that people that race cars like drinking lots of beer, but there is a bit of a trait for that. And what I love about it is that, you know, at the end of the day, we get 40, 50 people in the room. We have a really good night, and the hangovers the next day are spectacular. But we all leave there itching to go racing the following year, and that's what it's about. You know, we're a group of people that enjoy racing. We are lucky. We've got some father and sons. We've had fathers and daughters, and that's really great to see generations coming through. Sometimes it's frustrating. You see some of the younger drivers, you know, they jump into a car, they weigh nothing, and they drive it like they've stolen it, and you just sort of think, fair play. But you give them a good run for the money as much as you can. But at the end of the day, we're all doing it because we enjoy it. You know, none of us are looking to well, most of us are too old to even contemplate it, but none of us are looking to drive touring cars. We're just looking for good, quality, fun, entertaining, close racing. And both James and I are lucky that we're involved in championships that give you that, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, totally.
Perfect. Definitely. Now, look, chaps,
all to play for, and yes, it's the book will open at Donington hopefully, and we'll see who's got the legs after the first 2 rounds, which will be entertaining. No drop scores this year, only 6 races, so that's always been the little Brucey bonus, where we have all 6 meetings, we have 12 rounds that count, 2 drop scores, and that can really come into play quite well at the end of the year. So this year it's just all out hell for leather all the way through, so I can't wait. I just so want to get back on track, but yeah, we've got to wait and see what the government let us do, isn't it? You know?
Exactly. I can see you're itching to get out there. Does the name Kaylee Twigger mean anything to you, Peter?
Yes, indeed. And Kaylee's has just gone leap over leap in stepping forward. Kaylee's raced for 2 seasons with us, and she started as a novice and some track day experience in the past, and she's getting quicker and quicker. And she won't mind for me saying this, but the lady does have some cojones. She does put some really, really nice moves on people, and there's no giving way. She's going through, and it's brilliant. I've had several races where this Tomcat's been a little bit too close to the rear bumper of mine, and it makes you work. But yeah, great driver, and obviously Chris, her dad, legend as well. So we wish him well, because he's not too great at the moment, but hopefully he'll be coming to some rounds, and all things crossed, fingers crossed, he'll be well enough hopefully to come back out in 2021. So yeah,
definitely. Well said. And actually, the reason I said that, Peter, is because You also mentioned Alton Park last year as well, and I'm very pleased to say we do have some onboard footage of Kaylee Twigger at Alton Park from 2019. So Elaine, if we could yeah, if we could roll the tape, please, the MG Cup on board at Alton Park in 2019.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a prime example of a turbocharged car doing battle with a normally aspirated car in a lower class, but because there's 120 kilos difference in weight, it makes good parity. So yeah, really good race, and some of the footage later on gets a little hairy as well. So I'm sure people can find that on YouTube and enjoy it for themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Now, look, guys, we've had an interesting comment actually from Tony Rushforth. He said, and James, we'll come to you first on this one. Given that Alan Gow is talking about restricted numbers for team members within the BTCC championships, has the MGCC considered this?
Not that I've heard of as yet, but I'm pretty certain there's going to be a limit to the amount of people that can attend the race. So I'm intrigued how they do that. Some of the rounds we draw a semi-decent amount of people too, but mainly it's people that are friends, family, and mechanics. So I'm assuming that they may limit the amount of extra tickets per competitor. So therefore limiting the amount of mechanics and team that can come with you. But I mean, touring cars drag a lot more people there, so I'm sure their teams are huge compared to ours. But I do think, yeah, they probably will restrict a little bit, especially for the first couple of meetings. But we'll see what happens. But at the moment, all I've heard is that there is potential for Donington, and that's as much as we know. We know no more than that.
I know from speaking to the club earlier in the month, they were saying because the permits aren't allowed until or aren't reviewed till the end of May, the plan of action at the moment is to send the or open entries on the 1st of June, and with that everything be sent out to registered competitors, and you would assume within the joining instructions there the rules will be laid out, but you know it is subject to some common sense, and yeah, we all anticipate that a lot of other events that have been confirmed already are behind closed doors. It's a shame, we don't get massive crowds, but we do get a following, and that's part of the fun, because unlike some of the more serious championships, the garages are open to anyone who walks in, the paddock's open to anyone who wants to come along. That's the whole point of club racing, is because that's how you find people. And we mustn't forget to thank the Orange Army, because it's wearing in sympathy for them. But it's we don't get to go racing if the marshals don't come out and play, and that's the main thing. It's got to be a safe environment for the people at the circuits to make it work for us to go racing, and likewise, I'm sure there'll be some guidance issued to them from their governing bodies, and we see what the MSA have to say. But it's, as we said, until the guidance is issued from them, we don't know. It may well be that the big championships, the televised championships, will be given priority, and it may well be that club racing will, we've already seen some clubs losing events because touring cars have taken the slot, and we understand that. And
let's hope not, Peter. Let's not go down that route. It's not going to happen.
No, we've been lucky so far, but we just don't know. Do you know what I mean? And it's
BCV and MG Cup are just they're much more important than those
absolutely.
What's that?
No, absolutely.
Never heard of it.
I agree, James.
Yeah, common sense will prevail, and I'm sure in the joining instructions there will be some guidelines. But you know, at the end of the day, we've just got to be sensible about it. So I've just got a mental image of 150 drivers walking around looking like slightly overweight Steaks, keeping their lids on all the time. So we'll be fine. You know? So, but yeah, so
we've got to make sure we get the live streaming in too. So at least if we can't have as many people coming along, then at least we've got the live streaming going on. So people can, so best year to start it, really, isn't it?
No, definitely.
Actually, it is.
Yeah, and it's for us, it's a great opportunity because we get to talk openly about what we think about championships. We get to talk openly about the racing. I'm looking forward, and the drivers in the Cup, and I'm sure in the BCV8 are doing the same, of actually having you walking around the paddock, chatting to people. And I think that's really important because, we all spend a lot of time and a lot of money going racing, and it's great to be able to share that with people. And, it's, if somebody had told me 2 years ago, I'd be sat in my back bedroom talking to a laptop, streaming live on Facebook about motor racing, and they're going, "You're having a laugh." But we are, and that's it's all good. So I as we said a lot, none of us we're just really eager to get back, and we just need the guidance from the government. Can we? Can't we? Simple as that. And then the MSA to say, are there permits? Are there not permits? And then we're away, aren't we? So fingers crossed.
Absolutely. And Peter, on your comment actually about drivers coming back, perhaps a little, a cupcake or two heavier, Dan Jones has commented. He's put one of the funniest comments I've seen actually for a long time. He's put, "I've started a business fitting stretch panels to race suits." I think you could be getting an influx of business, Dan. very soon.
And to be fair, Dan just had his car rebuilt. He had an unfortunate little incident at Brands last year, and Chris Bray at Finish Line's been doing his car, and we've been seeing on social media this white ZR looking rather tasty, and he's put a rather exotic exhaust to get a bit more power out of it. So that'd be another sort of ZR wasp hounding us, which would be great. So, it'd be good to see you back out, Dan, and put me down for 2 stretch panels, please.
Now, James, I did promise you we saw some great footage in the paddock, of course, and that's something that we particularly enjoy, as well as getting to see people. Now, I did promise you some on-track action as well. Now, you mentioned, was it Russell McCarthy you mentioned earlier?
Well, the McCarthy name in the BCV8 Championship is huge. The McCarthy family themselves have been involved in the championship for many years. Russell's parents, Pam and Roy, sadly no longer with us. Pam we lost last year, but they had a massive influence in the championships and been running the championship for many years. But Russell and Spencer McCarthy have raced in the championship as long as I've done, and are always super competitive. Both of them, whatever they drive, they're at the front. Whether it's an MGB or Janetta or even in virtual racing that we've been doing a bit lately, they're super quick at driving. And if you've got the in-car Russell, always a pleasure to watch as well.
Well, James, we're about to find out just how quick Russell McCarthy is, because we've got some onboard footage from Croft now to show everybody. So, Elaine, if we could play the footage of the BCV8 Championship at Croft with Russell McCarthy on board. That was pretty good.
Can't get bored of that sound, that V8 sound. It's pretty awesome. But I point out that he's really quick, but I was the yellow car that was at the front. So he's got to find a bit more pace when he's across.
One thing I'm excited about, James, is that first lap when they come round to start lap 2, and I'm going to be stood right on that pit wall, and they're all going to be thundering past me. It's going to blow my socks off, is it?
Oh yeah, it seriously does. We try. We don't just focus on the D class, but the D class are immense. They're seriously 400 brake horsepower. They weigh 925 kilos. No traction control. I think it's pure power straight through those back wheels. But yeah, all of the cars that come past you on that pit lane are gonna be blowing that hair about, definitely.
It'll be a bit shorter, I promise.
No, it's awesome, and that race went on. You sort of saw how close the sort of 5 of us were then. That went on for the whole race. Again, worth just search BCV8 on YouTube. There's plenty of videos out there to watch. Yeah. And Russell worked his way all the way through, and to be fair to him, he was hounding me at the very end. And if he'd had one more lap, I think he would have beat me. But yeah, it stays that close all the way through. We had a race at Snetterton only a year or 2 ago, and we had sort of 8 cars all for the lead. And I think the front 6 cars, we crossed the line with about 4 seconds between us. Like literally, as we went through the line, all going through, count another second, and it was over a 20-minute race to be finishing that close. Most of the time we're nose to tail going across the line at the end as well. So it really does. It's very entertaining. It's entertaining in and out of the car, definitely.
Fantastic. Well, look, guys, let me just say a huge thank you, first of all, for coming on tonight. It has been an absolute real treat having you here. Peter, just quickly, before we do say a fond farewell for the evening, is there anybody you'd like to give a particular shout out to, or a last thing you'd like to say this evening to the MG Cup fraternity, shall we say?
Yeah, I'll be brutally honest. I'm just looking forward to seeing all my friends in the paddock again across all the championships in the car club, and really looking forward just to just catching up with everybody in the MG Cup. Registrations are still open, so for those of you who've had a little bit longer to finish your cars off, so there's no excuses now. And check out the website mgcup.com. Keeps it nice and simple. So
fantastic.
Thank you for having us this evening. It's always enjoyable to chat, and we're doing a lot more of this as the racing unfolds, which will be even better.
We shall. And James, to you, of course, a final word to the BCV8 Championship fans, followers, drivers, teams, you name it.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you to you. Thank you for putting on this tonight. And looking forward to seeing yourself in the paddock and interviewing some of our drivers as well, so they can now put a name to a face with yourself there.
Yes.
And same thing as Peter, registrations still open, so you're more welcome to put them in. Loads of people have, to be fair, and don't panic. We've already got plans in place with that. If we only get half a season, we're just going to say, next year will be only half registrations. If we don't, for any reason, do not get a season, your registration will be put to the next year, so you won't have to pay for registration next year. So there's no real reason to not get it in. Don't panic about that. And fingers crossed we're out of Donington. And looking at we've got a little WhatsApp group, and the amount of people that came back saying they would enter that race, I think we'd be looking to get a pretty good grid there too. So that's exactly what we want. A big grid in each class, providing some great racing. I'm sure everyone can't wait to get out and be in the paddock again and be on that track. And bcv8.com. We might as well see it running down the bottom of the screen here, but bcv8.com. Lots of details on there. If anyone's watching this for the first time, it's not to do with the championship, have a little look at us, see what they think. And looking forward to seeing all the drivers that are coming out this year.
Absolutely. Perfect. Gentlemen, great words. Thank you so much for that. And again, from us as well at My Supercar, just a reminder to everybody, we will be live, of course, with the MG Cup and BCV8 at Donington Park in July, so you won't miss any of the action. We'll be behind the scenes, but we'll also capture as the cars are going out on track, we will be right there as they come back as well for podium celebrations. And it seems like we're going to have a barbecue 2 meters apart. So we're going to have plenty of fun. Just remember, guys, do go to www.mgcup.com to find out everything about the MG Cup, of course, and www.bcva.com to find out about James Wheeler's Championship. Both are absolutely fantastic. They are a thrill a minute, and the action is going to be intense. It's going to be very friendly, but you won't want to miss any of it. Unfortunately, you won't have to miss any of it. We'll see you in July, guys. It's going to be an absolute pleasure. Stay safe, won't you? Take care.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Take care, everybody. Thank you. And that's all right.